What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to another Resplendent review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Resplendent Brave Micaiah and I'm going to be going over the builds that you could run on her, and at the end we'll try and explore what if she got a Brave remix. So Brave Micaiah is the first Choose Your Legends 3 unit to get a Resplendent, and she is the second VANAHEIM Resplendent that we have got. So she has got Light of Dawn as her preferred weapon. This did get a weapon refine a while back, and this doesn't have minus and special cooldown, instead it gives her +3 resistance. And just like any other Micaiah, she has got the effective damage against armors and cavaliers, and this does help in the nuking, but still nowadays we do have insane armor skills like Shield Fighter, and at start of combat, if the foe's HP is at or above 75%, or if there's any kind of penalty active on them, then she's going to be getting extra stats depending on the current penalty on each of target stats, +4. So this is kind of a unique effect which gives her the extra stats depending on the debuffs that the enemy has got, and it doesn't translate into true damage like dominance or anything like that. So it's like a penalty punisher in a way, and she was unique because of this. And then her refinery effect is always going to be active in her player phase, or if she's within 2 spaces of an ally, so she's able to get extra attack and resistance, and this is going to be going up to +6. She doesn't really get extra defense or speed, and it also gives her the guaranteed follow-up attack, which can help her, especially at low investment, because she's not going to be all that fast, even though she can get some speed out of her primary effect. So this weapon is still workable, but it's definitely outclassed by a lot of insane units that we've got. It's certainly not as bad as to be needed like an arcane weapon like Arcane Caliburn, that's for certain. And because she was the first place winner in Choose Your Legends 3 along with Brave Alm, she did get a preferred skill in Yune's Whispers, but nowadays this is definitely not going to be used with stuff like Sabotage tier 4 skills and even the new Discord skill that Rearm Marianne brings in. So Yune's Whispers is basically a worse Sabotage skill. It can debuff the foe's attack and speed based on the resistance check, but that's pretty much it. And like I said, you're not really going to be using this skill that much. Looking at her stats, she does have 39 base attack now, and that does have a super boon, so that is the asset she's always going to be going for. And then if you want to ascend an asset, then resistance is going to be the next best one, as she does have enough resistance to make use of deploy skills, sabotage skills, and the discord skills. Her speed can be used at max investment, but still we have a bunch of ridiculously fast units, so don't fully depend on her speed for everything, and you're most likely going to be stacking up her attack and resistance like a lot of the bulky mages and like a lot of the Micaiahs. And now let's take a look at her comparison with some of the older green flying mages. So Yoon definitely packs a bit more of a punch, and she did get a pretty good refine and remix. Even though she's not really seen as much nowadays, she still has more supportive capabilities than Micaiah here, because she can debuff the enemy and panic them without really needing any kind of resistance check. And recently we did get a weapon refine for E3, and she also got a fantastic one, and her remix is also solid. So the damage reflection that she has got is really helpful, and she also got the 50% damage reduction piercing in her remix, which is something that Brave Micaiah really needs. E3 doesn't have as much resistance as Micaiah, but she can provide some really unique support with her weapon refine that can inflict the schism status and also the sabotage status. So things are starting to look a bit better for her, and comparing Brave Micaiah to some of the modern units, it gets extremely unfair. Even Summer Ivy, who's not that insane of a unit, is going to be having similar resistance and actually a bit more attack than her, even at just +1 merge, and her weapon does have the conditional Brave effect, so that can be helpful. And then we have got Attuned Micaiah, who completely overshadows Brave Micaiah, not only because she's the same color, but she does everything that Brave Micaiah can do, but much better. She can get insane attack and resistance debuffs. She has got the Omni Guidance for the support. She cleanses her allies. She also converts any kind of penalties into buffs. And then she's got her slot-based skill, which allows her to have even more support and debuff the enemy, so that she doesn't really need to run any kind of ploy skill. So she has got a pretty free slot C and a tune slot where she could just run anything. The flexibility and utility that she has got is just absurd. So it's pretty hard to measure up to that, and she's definitely one of the top 10 units that we have got right now in the game. So even many Micaiah fans are going to be choosing to run Attuned Micaiah in that same color and class type over Brave Micaiah, who needs significantly more investment, and unfortunately her preferred skill is a bit outdated. But like I said, her preferred weapon is still gonna be useful even at this moment. It's not really as bad to the point where you need to replace it with an arcane weapon. Maybe if we get a much better arcane green tome like Arcane Blood Gang, but right now with Arcane Caliburnus, I think you should just be keeping your preferred weapon. So you should be running her with the teammates that can debuff the enemy, and then she can make use of her weapon and take advantage of it. And you should be focusing with that with her build as well. So the easiest way to upgrade her right now with some modern skills or decently modern skill is definitely to go with the divine codes and grab Summer Ivy and give her all of these skills. So Stillwater is going to be helping you quite a lot, and Sabotage Attack Resistance is just better than her preferred skill. So you can run that, and then you could get Soaring Guidance to enable the warping. It's of course no Omni Guidance, but still it does help your allies. And if you do want, you could definitely try and give her Defense Res Ploy 3 or even Attack Resistance Ploy 3, as the latter is available in the divine codes as well. So that way she can have even more negative status effects on the enemies, but if you cannot, then this kind of build can work. And for her emblem, you should be running Emblem Sigurd so that she can get some Kanto and also get the extra movement, which is going to be really helpful for her. And Iceberg and Glimmer are going to be her main special choices. And Sabotage Attack Resistance does inflict the debuffs on the enemies, but keep in mind it does not inflict the Sabotage status on them. Instead, it gives you the Sabotage effect in the combat on the enemy's attack and resistance, so it can result in some debuffs in the combat. And if you've got some expensive fodder, then this is an offensive build that you could run on her. So Flared Mirror could be run for its pre-combat damage. There are not many slotty options that you could run. You could run Attack Speed Mastery, but you already get the Kanto out of Emblem Sigurd, and there is no Attack Resistance Mastery, only Attack Speed Mastery, which, to be fair, she can make use of the speed for. But still, you could run this, and Resonance is going to be her main way of piercing through the damage reduction of the enemy. But unfortunately, she doesn't have as much HP as some of the mages. But the Resplendent stats do help her, and if you don't have her at max investment, then you're going to be needing Summoner support to get the extra HP. So Resonance can give you 12 true damage and also give you the 60% damage reduction piercing, which is really good. And that kind of true damage does stack up with the exposure status of the Ploy skill. And Attack Resistance Ploy is basically going to be her best Lotsie skill, as it does debuff the enemy with the Ploy status, and exposure does give you extra damage output. So it is necessary with her preferred weapon, and she has got more than enough resistance to make use of this consistently. And if you don't have a Ploy skill, I guess you could run Deadly Miasma, which is going to be coming with Soaring Echo at the same time. So that could be run, but a Ploy skill is definitely the way to go, and Soaring Echo is going to be her best attuned skill. At absolute max investment, you could run her with Crystalline Water, which is going to be giving you the cleansing, and most definitely Speed Resistance Discord, which is going to be one of her better slot B options because she does have decent enough speed to make use of the speed debuffs, and it also gives you 15% true damage based on your resistance. So it's another way of stacking up the true damage along with the exposure status of the Ploy skill, and you also inflict the Discord status on the enemies. And it's a really fantastic skill for its debuffs, so it's just in time for Resplendent Brave Micaiah. Unfortunately, she is going to be missing out on the damage reduction piercing, but you could always give that to her as a visible status effect. If a Brave remix happened, then this is how I would upgrade her weapon and also her preferred skill, of course. I've got a new icon for her preferred skill, so I would make the following changes to Light of Dawn, where I'm going to be increasing the stats you get out of the Penalty Punisher inner weapon to count with the foes in 2 space of the target as well. So this can help her in some situations. And then I would give her the Dominance true damage, which gives you the true damage based on the debuffs, which works really well with her weapon and with her debuff capitalization. And like I said, she does need 50% damage reduction piercing somewhere in her kit because flying mages don't really have any option other than Resonance. And for the Refinery effect, I'm going to be keeping +5 to all of these stats instead of just giving her attack and resistance, and she's going to be getting the guaranteed full up attack, and I'm pretty sure that she would have gotten flat damage reduction as well, based on 20% of her resistance. I would also give that to her against the AoE specials because she does have the resistance, and then I would give her Creation Pulse, a skill that flying units are not able to access. So she's going to be counting the 2 negative status effects on the enemies, and then she's going to be getting the 2 cooldown special jump. So this allows her to nuke much better, and this also makes her a bit more unique and something that other Micaiahs don't really have. So I thought I would make use of this with the remix that I've given to her preferred skill. And then finally, she would also get 7 HP healing after the combat. So now this weapon has got a lot more nuking potential with the dominance, with the creation pulse, and also has some defensive effects like the flat damage reduction and the healing that she could fall back upon. And for Yune's Whispers too, I would just make it so that she doesn't need any kind of resistance check to debuff the enemy like it is with Attuned Micaiah, with Bride Micaiah, with Yune. So she would have the Omni Chill -7 just like them, and she would inflict the Sabotage status on the enemy, which is going to be going really well with her weapon, and she also debuffs them with the Ploy status. And this way she doesn't necessarily have to run a Ploy skill, so this would give her some flexibility and also allow her to debuff the enemies quite a lot and take benefit of that for herself in her combat with her weapon. And I would give her +5 to all of these stats in the skill itself, and then I would give her the Dowlol effect, which is going to be making her ignore any kind of visible buffs of the enemies. So I thought because Ashera depends so much on the visible buffs, because Micaiah has got Yune, maybe she could have a Dowlol effect to completely ignore the Ashera's visible buffs, but of course Ashera still cannot be stopped because she is going to be counting the visible buffs of her allies, but nonetheless this is going to be a good effect on her. And then for the remix skill, I would just change her Sacrifice to Maiden Solace. So Sacrifice is a harsh command, and Maiden Solace is basically a better harsh command plus. She would realistically get it because of how Legendary Marth also got his Shining Emblem in a remix. So let me know what do you think about my Brave remix that I've given to Brave Micaiah, and how would you think she would fare with the upgrades that I've given to her. I'm not gonna lie, it's really hard even with the upgrades against Attuned Micaiah, but I tried to make her a bit more offensive and make it so that she would do a lot of damage with the dominance and everything. So I would be eager to hear that in the comments. And I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their constant support, and you can click the link on the screen right now to check out my breakdown of Resplendent Legion, who is going to be the Resplendent before her. And make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Yune's Whispers in 2024. So without further ado, guys, next time, thanks so much for watching and have a great day.